everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Prematch Muti. So, if you don't if you speak to some Goma, I think Mosa knows a couple that you can call. Hey, am I right, Mosa? You know,
one or two in town.
One or two, yeah. So, if your team's struggling, contact Mosa. They'll give you a number and they'll pour some salt in the goals and make things happen for you. But we've got the usual cast today. We've got Nick, the backstreet boy, all the way from the north, king of the north. We've got Wonga Denga, aka the Dengasaurus, back up to any. What's the dinosaur's name there at Arsenal? I can't believe you guys have dinosaurs as mascot. Ganosaurus. Yeah. And then we've got Sello, Kale, a financial Manchester United fan who's checking all the numbers every day, all day, the data, the stats, Martial's misses, etc. And then we've got Mosa. And that's all I've got. He used to play pro football and, he shows up when he feels like it. Purely his attitude. I don't know. At least he's here today. Am I right, Mosa?
I could give Sello some muti for his team at the moment.
He might need it. And actually, you know what? Let's start off with it.
I don't need any muti, man.
No sure?
Nothing. Things are happening.
If you look at the Premier League table, if we win our game in hand, I think we're on the same points as you.
That's a big if at the moment.
The thing is it's if you win the game in hand. That's the big. Yeah. That's the big. Those are the key words in that statement. It's if
the game in hand is Burnley. So come on.
Yeah, and you tend to drop points against some of those teams, so I'm not too sure.
And also, game in hands are very dangerous. Always, for a long time when Liverpool were very shit, we always had catch-up games. And I was always like, yeah, there's 3 points. There's 3 points. In total, 6, we'll catch up. And when those games came, we never caught those 3 points. Those 3 points came flying past. And you just stayed exactly where you were.
Yeah, exactly. That's why most of us like to count the 3 points as opposed to counting the games in hand.
Yeah, that you got to ignore. I agree with you. You got to ignore that. But talking about counting those 3 points, we're going to start off with West Ham, Manchester United. West Ham are flying at the moment. Sello, are you a bit scared? Because they're sitting 5th on the log. 3 games on the trot, 3 wins. David Moyes, David Moyes would love to cause an upset. Yeah, how are you feeling about this game?
No, I'm feeling good about the game. It's another away game at the Olympic Stadium. We've got 8 wins out of 8 starting from last season. So I think it's going to be another win for us and making it 9 out of 9 wins. We're very good on the road. We're very good on the road. So I think, David Moyes obviously has something to prove, but I think that the quality will shine through. West Ham has had a good 3 games. Also, you must look at the opposition that they've played in those 3 games. It's not like they were playing top 6 sides. In the last 3, they're playing well. Okay, some of these teams are top 6 because they're in those positions currently. But I feel that we'll have enough to get over the line. And I think if you look at a team like West Ham, man, Antonio just got back. He was taken off at halftime. I don't know if that was precautionary or he didn't have the energy to go a full 90 against Villa. But I think definitely. We'll get the 3 points at the Olympic Stadium.
I don't know. Anyone else disagree with this? Because
it's interesting.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm not sure which Man United will pitch on the day. We've had scenarios where even the example that we had midweek with Champions League with the Man United, it's like they could face the exact same opponents, but you could have a Man United that's upbeat and ready for it. Whereas there could be another Man United which isn't ready for anything at the moment. They could look flat on the day. They could look like they don't have a plan, or it could look like questions are raised about the coach and the approach, which is a thing.
Yeah, and Ronnie says Fred not taking Fred off last night's game. I mean, these are sort of things that's. They add to the 3 points in the end of the game if these sort of decisions become crucial. Sorry, Sello.
No, I like yesterday. I don't dispute the mistakes that Ole made, but with regards to the Premier League, I think away from home we've shown our class. And the crazy stat is that since Bruno Fernandes came to the Premier League, we've got the second amount of points in the Premier League since he's arrived. Just only Liverpool's got more points than us. And we've taken that run that we had at the end of last season. And yes, we've had some speed, some losses this season, but still, if you look at it in its entirety, in 2020, we've done quite well as a club. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes you guys like to magnify and say you don't know what Man United will pitch up on the day. 8 out of 8 wins away from home. I don't know what Man United do you want to see if it wins 8 out of 8 away from home.
All good things come to an end.
Yeah, but so here's the other thing is you've conceded 16 goals and you've scored 16 goals. I mean, you're telling me about all these positive sides, but at the end of the day, to Mosa's point, we're not sure what we're going to get. Is it going to be one of those where they concede as many as they score, or I mean, you sound very convinced.
But that was 6 goals in one game. So if you take away the 6 goals in one game,
you can't.
No, you can't take it away. But then you can't. But how many have Liverpool conceded, Claudio?
I'm not worried about that. We're talking about the United game. We're talking about the United game.
I'm asking you a question. How many have Liverpool conceded?
Liverpool conceded enough goals, more than they would like to. They've conceded 17 goals. They've conceded 17 goals, but they've scored 22 goals. They've scored more than they've conceded, and that's one of the things that's getting us across the line.
And how many points is Man United behind Liverpool?
Doesn't matter. We're sitting second and United are sitting ninth. I think that's a big difference regardless of point. You considering points in hand.
We're 5. No, listen, Claudio. Man United started the season a week late, right? Liverpool is 5 points ahead of Man United. Chelsea is 3 points ahead of Man United, right? 3 points ahead of Man United. So you guys are talking about Man United like Man United is like Arsenal. Yeah, you guys are talking like Man United like Arsenal. Yeah.
This is your team, my friend. If you want to get involved.
But I'm being truthful. Yeah, I'm being truthful. I think you guys need to analyze the league table and see what's going on and see the form of Man United away from home. If we're talking about we're playing at Old Trafford, then let's tell us that you don't know what the team's going to pitch up at Old Trafford. Then let's talk about that. You know what I mean? But
doesn't that concern you?
Yeah, isn't that more concerning, the fact that you're not sure what team's going to show up at home than it is going to show away from home? Like that's a huge concern for me.
No, it is concerning. It is concerning. But we're talking about the game against West Ham, which is away from home.
At home without fans as well.
Yeah, so without the fans, it's been a huge hindrance to Man United so far this season. But I see us having no struggles against West Ham at the Olympic Stadium.
Okay, but no struggle. Yeah, let's talk about West Ham. I mean, West Ham at home. Okay. It's a bit. Sorry, Wonga, you go for it. You can add to it.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, just given what West Ham has done this season, I don't think we can say there won't be any struggle. Man United also conceding first many times. I get, they got a good away record, but I don't think it's going to be as clear as Sello says.
I think, but I think the problem is
I don't see it.
You don't want to give props to a team doing well away from home. That's none of you have said Man United have done.
No.
None of you.
Yeah, but
None of you.
Like, Man United is regarded as a very, very big team in the English Premier League, and they home and away form should be consistently very, very good. And generally, teams that compete for a season are very confident about their home games, a lot more confident than their away games, even though their away games are very strong. Yeah,
I mean that's logical.
And the Man United that we see week in, week out is there's a lot of changes, first of all, and then there's a lot of inconsistency with which Man United will approach the game on the day. It's good that the character's there. Bruno Fernandes has helped the character in terms of, when you guys are chasing a game and you are 1-0 behind or 2-0 behind, the character is good to see, but you're not converting that to results at the moment.
At home.
Yeah.
Definitely. Our home form needs to be addressed, and we need to do better as a team and replicate what we've done away from home at home.
True.
So it does go back to the manager as well. I think the manager has gotten his tactics wrong at home. If you think about the Chelsea and the Arsenal games, Those were 2 games where he was, very defensive. Cool. The opposing managers were also defensive, but they playing as an away team. They're supposed to be they're supposed to, be there being cautious as an away team. We understand that. A lot of teams do that in the Premier League. But as a home team, you need to enforce your style onto the other team and make them worry and test their defense. Which is something that they didn't do, especially in those two games. The Palace game, I can just say, obviously, it was just literally, it was the first game of the season, rustiness and so forth. But the game against Chelsea and Arsenal are the two games where I feel Solskjaer got it completely wrong, and he should have definitely tried to impose his tactics on Arteta and Lampard, but he failed to do so. But yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend. But I feel that we'll win. Maybe not convincingly, but I feel that we'll have it in the bag. Our way forward is good.
Steve Bruce beat Crystal Palace. How does that make you feel, Sello?
How did we play against you guys?
No, I'm just asking you about.
It's just a random question.
Just a question. Let's not ask.
As I said, it was our first game of the season, so it was we were rusty. The guys weren't in the right,
you don't have Callum Wilson. That's the difference, I think.
That's true. We don't have Callum Wilson. We don't have Callum Wilson. We don't have Callum Wilson. We don't have Jolinton, and we don't have Almiron.
Sello, I just want to bring it back to the game before we move on. Talking about the whole West Ham as an opponent, and you seem quite confident in the 3 points. In terms of how the game's going to be set up, we know David Moyes. We know in the bigger games, in my opinion, when I've always watched the David Moyes sides, they tend to always be compact, sit deeper, fight for scraps, and hope for something in the box, whether it be a free kick or a corner. So my opinion is him playing at home and winning 3 games on the trot and being a lot more confident, especially facing a United in the form of an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that, in our opinion, apart from yours, that is not very confident in terms of the team he puts out, and whether or not Martial is going to score in front of goal, we don't know. But how do you think the game's going to play out in terms of this sort of setup?
Now, it's interesting. You mentioned Martial now. I read a stat interestingly about Roberto Firmino, that Roberto Firmino missed the 3rd most big chances last season. So, I think he needs to, was what Gabriel Jesus, Tammy Abraham, and Roberto Firmino. Those are the 3 guys who missed the biggest chances. But yeah, apart from that, Solskjaer, I never said...
Can I intervene?
I never said
please.
That Solskjaer...
Did you research that stat when you were looking at who's missing the biggest chances at the moment?
No, it was an article. It was an article on Liverpool that came up on a Twitter page that I follow. So they cover many teams, and they were talking about how can Roberto Firmino's form add on to a Salah and a Mane and a Jota to a Liverpool. I just want to say,
Sello could be a great politician, because when we're asking him certain facts, he deflects. So let's go back to the United West Ham United versus Man United game in terms of how the setup's going to play. And you're saying you're convinced in the 3 points you're going to get.
Listen,
how are United going to get these 3 points? Just explain it to us.
But listen, we're on a show here that talks about football. So we talk about any wide-ranging issues. So if I can remember a stat about some other player, then I'll mention it. Do you know what I mean? Nick spoke about Crystal Palace. I don't know where you got Crystal Palace from. You just what I'm saying. So obviously,
Nick's just trying to get into the conversation because he knows his team's games for the weekend.
You spoke about it.
No, I said that we lost to Palace at home. Yes,
I spoke about them. I said we beat them. Steve Bruce's army.
Yeah, and then Claudio spoke about missed chances. And it reminded me about missed chances. But listen. I never said that anything about Solskjaer's tactics are instill confidence. So I don't know where you got that from, Claudio. But I feel that the problem with Solskjaer is, I've said it all along, his in-game management is very poor, very, very poor. So if, for instance, if his setup from the start is the right one for the game, then the team will do well, right? But then for him to make changes, more often than not, he's found wanting in that. A situation like yesterday where a Fred should have got a red card, right? Firstly,
in the first 10, yeah.
The first, the 30th minute that when he headbutted, he should have got a red card, but he doesn't get a red card, right? Cool, no problem. That happens in football. Decisions sometimes go in your favor when it's not supposed to. But then you're supposed to then take away a player like that because why? I don't know why is this guy calling me.
You've got options. You've got opportunities to actually save the game and salvage something, as opposed to just let the player go.
He had 3 center midfielders on the bench. That are international players. So it's not even like you've got inexperienced players on the bench. You've got a defensive-minded player that you can put on in Matic. You've got a Pogba, a box-to-box. You've got a Van der Beek who's a box-to-box. And he decided not to take him off. And then after the game, he says, I probably should have taken him off. Yes, man. Damn well you should have taken him off because the whole bloody world, right, saw that this guy...
The issues.
Could get a yellow card, and it's not even more of a Fred, but it's also a PSG sometimes playing for the fouls. You know what I mean? Like for instance, his second yellow card, he kicked the ball first and then kicked them, and then the man got tripped over him, type of thing. You know what I mean? And obviously, can't in playing against a team that plays for fouls, you can't take that chance with a Fred where a player could make it worse than it actually looks, and then the referee will obviously be convinced. And for a yellow card, you can't look at VAR for a yellow card. You only look at VAR for a red card. You know what I mean? So Solskjaer did the wrong thing there.
But in all, just to butt in here, and I think this is what we need to sort of always comprehend, always understand. In a situation like that, a manager like Stevie Bruce would have taken Fred off. So we should take him off our hands. I think
even like anybody that was watching the game would have made that decision to say, look, it's not worth risking the entire player for his performance at the time, because he was getting frustrated with the PSG attacking force. He was worked up for no reason. Even the opposing teammates or the opposing players that were his national kind of were there to kind of see that the boy is flustered. He's actually going through a lot. It seems as if he might have a lot in his mind. He's too pumped up for the game, and then that point, that's when other players should be actually like even speaking to the coach to say, "Yo, what's up?" But along this point of the coach and how he sets up his team, what team should we expect for this game, Sello, if you were to be given that mantle?
Hey, man.
It's a surprise.
It's. I think
the lucky pack and draw.
Rashford might have a bit of an injury. There's a bit of an injury concern because he came off with a shoulder injury, and he played well yesterday. So I think he might be a doubt for the weekend. So I think he's centre midfield. In a game like this, I think he will start with a McTominay and a Van der Beek. I think also he will try to get a bit of team chemistry with those two before the Leipzig game, because Fred won't be available. So maybe already start with a team that he would also look to play in a game against Leipzig, so that they can get some chemistry in the midfield. Because McTominay just also came back from a 2-week injury layoff, so I think he might start with McTominay and Van der Beek and then Bruno, and then with Cavani as well, or maybe he might
Cavani over Martial.
Cavani and Martial and Greenwood if Rashford isn't fit. If Rashford's fit, then. But I think rather don't take the chance with Rashford because it's a niggling shoulder injury that he has, and previously he had a back injury that kept him out for quite a long time last season. So I think rather don't take the chance with Martial. With Rashford, and put him on the bench, and then start with Martial and Cavani and Greenwood. With Bruno behind, and then Pogba can come off the bench, give us some 30 minutes. Yeah.
I don't know if you see Marcus's comment about
that's the Powerball numbers.
Yeah,
Powerball numbers. Hoping to hit the lottery there. That's what United are trying to do. But moving along, Nick. Let's talk about what's happening at the moment for Newcastle and the Villa game. You should be updated as to what the latest is coming up from both camps and the postponement of the game.
I'm personally gutted because Friday night kickoff is a great sort of treat. Something
especially for a boy from Fourways, am I right?
Yeah, having a beer, watching them, supporting the lads, on a win. Listen, there's a big positive coming out of this. We're going to go 2 weekends unbeaten, which will be great. But yeah, nonetheless, obviously gutted that the game's not going to go ahead. I thought you guys would have laughed at my joke. No one laughed, but anyway, that's fantastic. We're going to go 2 weekends unbeaten.
The weekend part is like the catch, right? Like, but
no. We're going to go 2 weekends unbeaten. We won last weekend, and we're not going to lose this weekend.
Yeah, well,
no one laughed.
Oh wow!
It's been a long day for most people. It seems everyone's still looking down.
Come on, man.
So it's confirmed that you guys are.
It's confirmed. Listen, it was coming. Monday already. The Telegraph had sort of information that the training ground was shut down. Yesterday they hadn't trained for a second day, and then today it was confirmed. Well, yesterday it was confirmed that today they weren't training, and they had what's he saying? The hairspray. Oh, fucking useless! This Scotty, take it easy, man. But yeah, in terms of that, they had requested the Premier League had requested. Newcastle had requested the Premier League. That they postponed the match. 19 of our staff members, including players and staff members, are isolating at the moment. They haven't actually released. Yeah,
you think they all went out for a party, and then that's where they caught it.
Yeah,
like the Russian brides with all the ladies working on the evening.
In terms of
that joke is kind of sad, bro. That you consider the fact that you have 2 weekends with unbeaten record as a joke.
But
he's got it's the little things, Mosa. It's the little things that do the trick for Newcastle.
Hey, but it's a small wins, man. Small wins for them.
Small wins. Having a good head day.
Catching Corona is a big win.
It's a big win. It's a great win. But I've been following on Twitter, and there's a few of the lads from the Villa side of the fan base sort of complaining, saying that they should have got the 3 points because we are in essence we are the first game to be postponed throughout this whole pandemic. So I do understand from their perspective, because every other Premier League team, and actually not every other Premier League team, every other club in English football have got it right, barring Leyton Orient, who actually had to postpone their game and give the victory to Spurs in the League Cup.
Don't they allow like 26 players to register in a season 14?
Yeah. How many players are affected?
So they haven't released that, and I think they are allowed to sort of keep that confidential, but there's 19 people within the training ground facility, and they call them people. They call them
even specifically players.
Yeah,
no one thinks that Steve Bruce is actually just scared to face Villa on the weekend and had one player who had COVID, and he's like, "There's 19 of us."
Yeah, my brother actually mentioned that.
You want his unbeaten record?
Yeah, funny enough, my brother was like, maybe. My brother said maybe he's got a couple of injuries. He doesn't want to play the game, but I'm sure you would have to provide some sort of proof. But they've given us a sort of postponement, unfortunately, I mean, Newcastle Villa is always a good game. I think there's a bit of history. Villa sent us down 8 years ago, and I think the fan bases don't really like each other. So I think all the sort of people watching the game would have been up for it. But I think now with fans coming back, I think there's maybe more excitement for that game maybe being played behind at least a sort of a crowd, if that is possible in the near future. So it is unfortunate. if you want to call it, we're not on a run. We've won a game last week, but you would think that we would have a bit of momentum going into a Villa.
Hey man,
Villa match
also, but Nick,
they've
let's
lost
not
it.
downplay Joel Linton. He actually scored a goal. It's like the first
He
one in 100
scored-
games.
Hey, man, that was a
goal.
messy goal, hey.
That was
It
a
went
Messi
in,
goal.
boy.
Somebody
Went in.
needed.
You mean like
Somebody
Messi,
needed-
Messi, or you mean like Messi? What kind of Messi? You know, this could have been a
well,
Messi Argentine goal.
Messi, like, not nice.
No, not nice. But
A jammy goal.
But I like the link up play for the Wilson.
yeah.
One.
So I'm happy you said that because I think he deserved something out of the game because I mean he got an assist for Wilson and he was good all day.
Yeah.
I still don't see he's not worth £40 million and I will back him because he's a Newcastle player, but he's a Newcastle player that's very overpriced. I don't think he's overrated. I don't think many of the fans actually think he is good enough, but I will give him credit when he deserves it, and I think he deserved it last week.
You did well.
But yeah, I still think we're short, but I'm happy he's up and running because I think with Dwight Gale coming back, I think with Wilson still scoring, and then maybe a Jolinton getting his form, possibly we might be a threat, like worth noting in the next couple of games. So I'm a little bit upset that we're not playing this weekend because obviously it feels like an international break for me because I don't really care about you guys. I care about fucking my team. And that's how it feels.
That's quite concerning.
Fair enough.
Do they push the postponement out to like January, or is it still going to be in December?
They haven't mentioned that, and I personally think they will do January, February. Also, if I'm honest with you, because the December calendar is so jam packed already. You go into January, and January the FA Cup games are starting to be, or they're going to start, and I think February is the only sort of respite for a potential opening because when there's maybe a Champions League fixture, Villa and Newcastle can potentially play. So I personally think it will be a February, March sort of postponement. Who knows? I'd love for it to be next week, but I doubt it.
Yeah, but also Villa already have the Man City game that they couldn't play on the first weekend because Man City were given an extra week. So that's 2 games Villa now needs to catch up on, and it's going to be. It's going to be jam-packed, as you say.
It's slowly becoming the PSL, the South African Premier League, where you've got one team that's got 6 games to catch up. That's what's happening here, thanks to COVID. Thank you, COVID. We don't appreciate it.
Unfortunately, it's not a team that could fight for the whole thing.
But I feel that they should have played this game. If you look at what they did in Champions League, I remember Shakhtar went to play Real Madrid, and they literally played. They literally used a lot of their under 19 players, under 21 players, like their reserve team players that pitched up. Even AZ Alkmaar went to play against Napoli. They had 9 players out and went to play.
So I agree with you on that because there was a lot of fans speaking about that, saying that the Premier League is going to force us to play because we have an extensive under 23 group. But the issue isn't that. They shut down. It wasn't the Premier League or wasn't Newcastle United. Public Health England actually shut down the facility on Sunday night. So Newcastle United as a club
who's Mike actually sleeping with in the public health sector?
Well, he hasn't been able. No one's been able to train, and I think that was the thing that got Newcastle over the line, where they say, "Well, we haven't been able to train from Monday. Like, is it fair?" I personally, I'm very. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. I would have liked the game to go ahead. Seen a couple of the youngsters. Probably been pissed off with that decision afterwards and said, no, we should have postponed the game. So I'm on either side of the. I don't know. I'll just have to watch someone this weekend. I'll watch PSL this weekend.
Because we could have maybe seen the South African centre back Bradley Cross, man.
Yeah, he was
even captaining the reserve in one of the games.
Yeah,
is that the lad you've been talking to, Nick?
Yeah, I tried to recruit him actually, but yeah, he was. I've played a couple of matches against him. My sort of youth teams against him. He's a great player. bit of a backstory with him. He played for Black Aces. Wits signed him as a loan player for a couple of international tournaments, and then he moved to Schalke. He was playing for Schalke last year in the Champions League, Youth Champions League, and they released him. I'm not too sure why, but from what I understand is he now went on trial to a few UK teams, and Newcastle signed him up, and he's been captain. I think for 5 of the games he's played, he's captained 3 of the matches, and
that's brilliant. Wow,
quite a cool story is like he wasn't just playing with under 23s. I think there was a couple of players coming back from injury from the first team. Paul Dummett, the goalkeeper, Gillespie, Mark Gillespie was playing. So it is quite interesting to see a lighty like that I've actually met and sort of coached against and beaten, by the way.
Hey, nice one. Hey, Coach
Nick. Well done.
Yeah.
Nick is doing the thing.
But great story.
That's brilliant. Yeah, beautiful.
Because
I see Scott saying something there. He played last game against Man United.
So, captain for the under-23s at Newcastle last game against Man United. Was an ex-Queen's Park player Newcastle, bought from our academy. Sure, he's only 17 is what he said.
Yeah, and like I said to you, Scotty works at Queen's Park in Glasgow. And I know he's doing good work there. Like I said, Scotty was on the course with me, or he's been on a couple of courses, and he's got an eye for talent. I think he spoke about Billy Gilmore in the past when I was there for my B license, and he was the hot prodigy out of Scotland at the time. And I think Chelsea obviously snapped him up. Scotland are producing some players. I'll tell you what.
Can we? Sorry, Claudio. Can we just steal a young 5 minutes and just talk about this new Brexit rules that's going to affect signing under 18 players?
Sello, that's not part of the agenda. Don't just add things, guys. I set up. I'm over this.
Let us adding his view.
He's running away.
Let's talk about Brexit.
He's got to have dinner with his. He's got to have dinner with his missus, bro.
Sorry, guys. Okay, sorry. We'll talk about that. Okay, we'll talk about that on Tuesday. We'll say that.
Sorry,
Tuesday show.
No problem. Say that for Tuesday. All right, we're gonna move over to the next. Oh, by the way, what Nick meant by recruiting him was he wants to get him onto our show at some point or later. I don't know if he gets back to Nick. But anyway, talking about Chelsea Leeds, this is the one. Mosa. I mean, Leeds right now are super unpredictable. They can show up. They can show up. We know Chelsea are fighting for the league title as things stand. Who cares? We don't care what any of these managers say. They're all saying, "Oh, we in it. No, you in it. No, we in it." We all know Chelsea are there and thereabouts. What are your thoughts about this weekend in terms of them getting results? It should be on paper, like Sello says with the West Ham United game. It should be, an easy 3 points. But what are your feelings about this?
I feel like in the English Premier League, there's nothing like an easy 3 points. But saying that, I do realize that it's the best position Chelsea's been in most of the season. Players are fit, players are ready and roaring. We've got the full squad. Frank Lampard has a challenge on his shoulders to field the right squad for the day, and that's a good place to be in as a manager who's got the buying power that he's had over the past transfer season, and the players are all looking ready and keen to play. I mean, man, it looks like the players are firing on all cylinders. How he manages the team is going to be interesting, but I think we should be able to get 3 points against the Leeds, which has been, dropping points here and there, hasn't been as consistent as us in terms of making sure that we get draws and wins over the past couple of weeks. And that's important for a Chelsea team that can chop and change a couple of options. It seems like there is options left, right, and center, which Lampard, it's a good challenge for a manager. Lampard has options left, right, and center. Literally every position in the squad is up for grabs except for the goalkeeper. Potentially Mendy's the only one that is sure to play over the weekend. But every other position is up for grabs, and most of the players that could fit in those positions are looking keen and looking hungry to actually produce something. So that's I think exciting from a Chelsea fan's perspective.
How do you feel about Timo Werner's form?
He hasn't scored as many goals as he promised, but yeah, man, like he's always a threat, and that's just as good as everybody else on the team. Like there are a lot of threats on our team. Some of them are scoring a lot more than others at this point in time, but how Lampard sees those combinations working out in training will probably dictate how he sets up his team over the weekend, because there are a lot of combinations that he can put together, which will still be very menacing, very, very menacing for any top tier football club in the world, I dare say. They'll still be able to compete with any Champions League team or Premier League team, no matter what type of combinations he puts on the field on the day, which is challenging, right? Like it's a very good place to be, but it's also challenging for him to keep players like Giroud motivated, him to keep players like Jorginho relevant, him to keep players that are very, very good whenever they get to get an opportunity to be on the field. It's a tricky thing.
I mean, what? Okay, sorry, Claudio. You could.
No, sir. No, go.
Sorry.
Go. It's not
no, man. I was just saying that, like for instance, when you say with the whole combination stuff, what you do find is that because the Euros are coming up, the European players wanna start games and wanna put their hand up for the national team. So you look like Antonio Rudiger. Antonio Rudiger is a starting centre back for Germany. And he needs to get game time so that he can actually be the starting centre back for Germany. But he's not getting that game time. I foresee a player like him, Giroud. I think those are the two players. I think
Giroud is exactly the same. Aspilicueta is exactly the same. Jorginho, Marcos Alonso, they're exactly the same. These guys have to all get a significant amount of game time to be able to prove their worth in their national teams and get a stake in their national team's performance. Because like it is up for grabs every time they do go for national team duties, and that's a very good place for a manager to be in, to know that every single one of their players has something more at stake than just the club and the club's responsibilities, which is exciting. Even he's been resting players
now. I know, Mosa, you seeing it from a positive perspective, it's exciting. But what about from the other perspective, knowing that, okay, sure, January is around the corner. Instead of the player going, well, why instead of fighting for a place, let me just go find a new place to go play for? And that could cause a whole different sort of dynamic in sort of the team culture, as well as another dilemma. So you're already knowing you're in a situation where you can fight for the league. Hopefully that's enough of a lure to tell the players, like, stick around, we can get another league title. But the players are going, oh, well, look, I want to try and get something for my country. And now you've got this extra thing to worry about as a manager.
Exactly. Like players like Rudiger, as Sello mentioned, players like Giroud, if they don't get enough game time with Chelsea, they really have to seriously consider their options. And that's a factor, because if they do miss out on these type of opportunities to represent their national teams in the Euros, they might be missing out on an opportunity to get an accolade to their CV, which means that they've won the Euro Champions League or Euros Nations Cup. Whereas with Giroud, the exact same thing. He's just come back from winning World Cup. He's scoring goals every week. Why is Tammy Abraham actually getting a place in front of him when
he scored 4 goals
when he should be
last night? 4
last night.
Yes.
Exactly. And Tammy Abraham also scores when he comes on.
This competition is tough. Yeah, it's competition.
Yeah,
but 4 in one game, guys. I mean, if he doesn't get game time on the weekend, then I don't know.
Yeah, then it's like, what must I do, coach? What must I do? Must I sport chain?
Transfer
and
request.
I hope
he definitely leaves if he doesn't get game time this weekend.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
back to
And
Arsenal,
I hope Lampard can figure those things. Like Arsenal will take him, but then he's also not certified an opportunity to play for France. Yes, it might be a difficult situation for him there as well.
Also, do you guys not think? I mean, talking about Giroud in particular, do you not think he's incredibly underrated in terms of what he offers a team and what he does for a team? And when you consider his scoring charts for France, he's like one of the highest scorers for France in their history.
Definitely.
And the poor can't get game time at Chelsea.
He's prolific.
Even when he played for when he played at Arsenal, I always felt that, like, I don't know, it didn't make sense to me, but it was Arsenal again. They put Giroud on for that reason. They play him the balls, and basically he would link up with the players playing around him. And he always won. Well, most of the time he would win the ball in the air, and he was good at the 1-2. But many times you'd see they would pass the ball to Giroud, especially from the defense, pass the ball to Giroud, like it's been in training, and you would see, okay, he's gonna get to the ball, he's gonna flick it on, but there was no one literally running onto the not even ready, not even taking the initiative even before he gets the ball, knowing that, look, he's gonna flick this on. And I never understood it in an Arsenal team, but you could see that, no, this is what they're training. This is what they're training. And
that's I think what Chelsea do differently. Yeah, Chelsea have all those other 5 or 6 players that are attacking around him to at least, if he's not menacing up there, there'll be like options are in and around him, which helps France as well when they've won the World Cup. They had those leeway options. Mbappe had a brilliant World Cup because he could always feed off that extra ball or ball up on top of the field. Which was there. Because Giroud was doing the hard graft, which is not pretty, but he was doing it, And
expected
at Chelsea at this point in time,
him, and he did it.
Yeah, but at Chelsea at this point in time, even Abrahams can do the same job, and score as well, which is
the same job.
Kind of
not the same job.
Olivier,
he's an improved version of Andy Carroll.
You know Giroud has, guys. Giroud has BMT, guys. Giroud has BMT. That's what I respect about Giroud is he's got BMT, and I think Abraham is still trying to learn that craft. Yes, Tammy has played well this season, but I'm just saying, maybe for instance, in a bigger game, maybe Giroud could be a better option because he offers a bit more in a tighter game. Whereas Tammy offers more in a looser game, in a more freer game, you know what I mean? So maybe in the tight games, in the free games, play Tammy.
So like a Leeds
100%. And that's why the question falls on to how Lampard will manage the front 8, to be honest. There's 8 guys who are ready and keen.
There, boy.
Pulisic is back and everybody's fit now. It's a scenario which we haven't had since the beginning of the season. It's a scenario which he's dealt with now, and he has to deal with it while Chelsea look like a very, very good team on form. And that's a challenge for any manager, especially when all these guys can represent their country any given Sunday,
Yeah, definitely. But talking about guys that aren't fit right now, and bring it to a game where there's a lot of stake. I mean, there's talk about we needing five substitutes. Watch now that Harry Kane has been. Mourinho hasn't ruled him out of the game against Arsenal, but Harry Kane seems to be injured currently at this moment in time. He is injured, so I don't think he's playing tonight. But Spurs versus Arsenal, Wonga, Denga,
with 2,000 fans. With 2,000 fans.
With 2,000
All
fans.
I can say is our team did very well against Tottenham, sir.
I look at this game again, yes.
Already? When you start that way, there's no, there's...
Yeah, there's nothing there. The man's given up on life.
Guys, hey, it's reality. It's reality. It's reality.
Tough time.
I mean, Arsenal. I mean, we spoke about it just on Tuesday with Matthew. I mean, just before the show, that Arsenal used to. What the Tottenham were never there when Arsenal were on top, and I was like we're joking around saying, why can't it? It's almost like the universe it's only got 2 sides to the scale. You're never in between. It's just if Arsenal's on one side, if Arsenal's up on top, then Tottenham is down below at the bottom. And now the roles have been reversed now. It's not nice down here, bro. It's not nice.
And Tottenham was always fighting for your position in the top 4, to be honest.
Yes, that's all they wanted the whole time. But every season you knew they want to fight, but you knew it's not going to happen. Now, it's literally the other way around. Like, Tottenham are on top. So the more they can't get any higher than this. I'm hoping that means we can't get any lower. But yeah, I think looking at.
Did you say Arsenal can't get any lower. You're hoping that you guys can't get any lower.
Well, on Tuesday
I'm
they're
saying
talking
that-
about possible relegation battles. I mean, I don't even
Yeah.
know. Like,
No, but,
No, I'm saying that Tottenham
Can't get
are at the
higher.
top, so they can't get any
Can't get
higher. So
higher.
that probably means because of the balancing act, Arsenal can't get any lower. Because it seems like the more they go up, the more we just keep on going away from them.
let's hope 14th place is
But-
the lowest for you anyway.
I'll
Yeah,
have to
but,
understand these dynamics that you're talking about.
It's science, Mosa. It's science.
I also don't understand it now. But I mean,
Okay.
look, it's like
Yeah,
even
so Wonga-
I'm looking
so
at
Wonga-
it.
Yeah.
I just look even the midfield. I'm like, so I just looked at. Let's say if you look 1v1s on the pitch, I'm looking at Dombele. He goes up against Shaka. That's
I
really
might
one
turn
off the
him a
field.
couple of times.
That's already one. That's
Then
already
it's-
one. Battle one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
battle one gone. Then it's game. Then it's game over. Then it's him plus Harry Kane plus Son. He can even throw on Lucas there if he wants
Doesn't
to.
sound like you 1-on-1 anymore, so.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
so-
take 10v1, yeah.
But luckily, we've got a. It's look. I mean, our defense. I also think it's also. If I look at Gabriel and David Luiz, I think they are pretty solid. But I mean, if you're going to keep banging the whole game, something's bound to give in. Up front as well, I also think we can also score. Given the when I look at the players, we have the ability to score against Tottenham. Mikel Arteta was even asked the same. He was asked. I think it was on Tuesday. They asked him what. They asked him again about this thing of the goals being shared with one man, and now they dry. But he was saying, look, he's not going to look at it from that point of view. What he sees now is there was one stat he named, and that was the one we said the Arsenal have had 33 crosses this season, and he said it's the most Arsenal has ever had in a season. I mean, looking at your Henry's and stuff, but I mean Henry was running with the ball one man and scoring, so I don't think
Yeah.
crossing mattered. But yeah, you were saying, look, it's one positive to get past. We're crossing more, but now we just need to get people onto there. Yeah, and this Scott, yeah, it's definitely Arsenal's worst start to a campaign. But like I was saying now, Arteta said he's not. When you're looking at the future, he's not going to try and he's not going to focus on the negative. He's trying to focus. In fact, not he's trying. He is focusing on the positives.
Okay, but
what
let's
are the
talk
positives
about
at
the
the moment?
positive. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
look.
the positive. Let's talk about the positive for what is the positive at least in this game on Saturday. How would you get anything positive from this game if they are to get a result, not a win? How are they going to upset Mourinho's Spurs that are currently flying high at the top of the table?
Mourinho Spurs
VAR.
that can defend very, very deep.
VAR.
Very
It's
deep.
the only thing that can save us. That's all I can.
VR.
I kid you not. I kid you not. There's nothing else.
You need Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there to get VAR decisions.
No, honestly, guys, I can understand Arteta's optimism. I can understand him.
He needs Brendan Rodgers, guys. Brendan Rodgers is the leading penalty VAR person for this season. Yeah, those guys, I think they have got like 8.
Yeah, they've got
Yeah,
a
just-
ridiculous
and,
record.
Okay, let me not change something there. But yeah, look, I mean, if I look at Arsenal, positives for me is that our defense, we do have, I mean, in David Luiz and Gabriel, I think we do have found a good defensive combination there. In Saka, Aubameyang, and Pepe up front, I think it's and Willian. I think it's good, you know. But the question we have to ask is it good enough? I think our midfield as well. It's not. Our midfield is just not there yet. Partey is not going to do the job by himself. He's not going to do the job by himself. He looks nice. Everyone likes him, but we're losing. We're losing. It's not.
But it might be interesting to see Tottenham having to actually. I can't see Arsenal coming out offensive in this game. I'd see in this type of game a Tottenham would be the more offensive party. It might be an opportunity for Arsenal to try and figure out the
Counter.
solution. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
counter.
true. I think with Arsenal, and I think it's probably Arteta even knows it himself. We in this game we're definitely the underdogs, and I think in most games now we're going to be like that, and you have to accept that position. So I think there's no added pressure now for us to be winning against a game like Tottenham. So we need to go out there and really take it to them. And I think when I watched, the one thing I did like about Arsenal, especially when Arteta took over, is that off the ball, the guys looked like they wanted to win the ball back. And I think everyone can say that. And I think they should also just keep on, doing that. In their games. As they go forward. But like you see now, like I looked at that injury list, right? And I'm just trying to. I know guys are like we were singing top four. I was singing top four. I know most Arsenal players were thinking even top six. Same as this season. They'll be okay with that. But like if we looked at our injury list, you got a player like Gabriel Martinelli, right? He's probably the most exciting player that's injured, and I think he's probably the most promising that we have in terms of our youngsters. And I think it goes alongside with him and what's his name, and Saka. And I think he can actually do a job for us. I think he can make a difference in the team. But
yeah.
When will he be back though? Because I saw.
So they say he's starting to train. Yeah, he's starting to. They said that he's I think he has started training, and that's I think that was the idea. So it looks like they're on track now, because I read something in September and October saying that look, he's always been tracked to come back in December, and then they said at the end of this month he'll be joining the I think it's the under 23s, and probably playing matches there, just playing matches. So he's still got quite a way to go, and he's recovery. So I'm thinking if you're looking at it, probably Feb, March, he's looking to come back.
That's far.
Yeah,
that's far.
That's very far.
I think
but
you guys need him earlier than that, because at least he offers something different to what you already have.
You see, Sello, that's what you see now. When you look at Gabriel, that's what I'm saying is that look, we've got a player like that, and when you look at him, he offers something. But then I look at the other guys like what's his name, Callum Chambers. We've got Callum Chambers there. I just don't know with Arsenal, and he's one of and I think he's been at Arsenal for long. He went on loan, he came back, and for me, he's not. Look, that's what I'm saying. I think we definitely our team, we can't be relying on players like him.
Mosa, are you okay there, man?
I'm okay. It's just Callum Wilson is one of those.
They say you've fallen off your chair.
Callum Wilson.
Yeah, man. It's trying to understand
Chambers.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to understand. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to understand how Arsenal can shift it a notch in a gear. Like I don't feel like they have that fifth gear, sixth gear to attack a game.
You see, then now someone like Cameron Chambers, Arteta Arteta talks about him, and he's mentioned he's a nice guy and all those things. And I'm like, look, if they mention if you mention someone like who's this? If I go to Kante, I mentioned many people even in Man United's team, Liverpool's team. They're not going to. The first thing you mention about the person is not going to be whether he's nice or not. It's whether can the guy do the job. That's the players.
But you know what, Wonga, based on what Scott has mentioned here, you got Saliba, Tierney, Gabriel, Partey, Saka. So those are decent players. A lot of them aren't good enough for Arsenal. Let's be honest. But those are good players to be built upon. And hypothetically speaking, if we're looking at this is probably what Arteta's got in mind. This is what the Arsenal board have in mind, and this is how they're moving forward. As for the game on Sunday, we'll have to see. Maybe the upset will be the fact that Spurs are the huge favourites, and they might not be used to that sort of title. So that's something that Arsenal could use on the weekend in their favour, possibly on a counter-attack. But moving on to the next game. Moving on to the next game and discussing the Liverpool-Wolves game, guys. Wolves had a good result against Arsenal. Do you think they can go away again, second game away from home on the weekend, and pull up an upset, against Liverpool? With the injury
Liverpool is a very different beast to Arsenal.
Yeah, and Jota playing against Wolves for the first time.
Wolves, I think Wolves can always bring it to any team. I've always said that, and I genuinely believe it. Every team they play, they're not scared. They're not going to change the way they play just to suit Liverpool. Klopp knows what's going to come at him. Those are all Liverpool's forwards are going. I mean, all Wolves forwards are going to try and get goals and try and win the game. They're not going to go there and try and draw it. They're going to go there and try and win that game.
Claudio, I'd said it to you. I mean, you guys played against Leicester, and I mean, I think all of us here wrote Liverpool off in terms of what sort of squad you had lining up against Leicester, and you absolutely smashed them out of the park, and it was just like it was a breeze for you. And on a personal note, I think that was when Liverpool actually stamped their authority on this sort of league title, and they were really saying we are defending this title. So I honestly will put Liverpool as favourites against the Wolves and against any team until they maybe go on a bad run of games. I think that victory with a very weakened squad just proved what Liverpool and Klopp and everyone else at Liverpool are about. And I think it is, again, Liverpool's to lose, in my opinion. I have been in Spurs' defence, and I feel like they are a big challenger this season, but it is Liverpool's to lose again.
Yeah, I think Spurs. Yeah, I think Spurs are going to be more methodical in terms of their approach as to how they get points and stay in contention. Whereas Liverpool, depending on whether or not they have the players available, are going to go the full throttle approach. But to what Wonga was saying that I found very interesting is him backing them on any given day, really, is that if we're looking at it from a table perspective, they're sitting 7th. They have 17 points. So that's technically only 4 points off of Liverpool. Which, like, I mean, so Wonga's correct in a sense that you can't write them off, because you're also at the stage, you don't know what you're going to get from them. If they decide to show up, they're a very tricky team to play against. But if we're looking at a Liverpool perspective, the good news is Trent seems to be fit and available. Hendo seems like he's going to be fit, and so does Keita. And that's a huge stretch from what happened from the side that played in the Ajax game, and we still got a result there. The one downfall will be that Alisson's not going to be playing in goals, and that's hugely disappointing. But the good news is that Kale had a flipping hell of a game during yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
So the 22-year-old he's sidelined Adrian. Adrian's going to stay in the training ground, which I don't mind because he's a fantastic trainer. But the youngster came up with the goods, and he got the high five, the hug. He got it all from Klopp, which means he's there.
I actually noticed that goalkeeper, Kale, is it O'Kella or Keller?
It's Kale.
He
and in South Africa we call him Killer.
Yeah, he's been called up to the Ireland national team. I think for the last 2 international camps, which is rather good, because Ireland are normally a good international team. I know they never made the Euros; they lost in the playoff. But for a third choice, if you want to call him that at the time, getting called up, either Ireland have very shit goalkeepers, or he's really one for the future.
Yeah, because I think he's second choice. He's second choice for Ireland, I think. Yeah.
And you know what? He's had games previously for Liverpool, and he hasn't looked as great. But I think it's that maturity. It's the time is now sort of thing. Him sniffing the blood around Adrian, going, "Fuck me! If I can't get ahead of this, then my career as a footballer is toast." So I think it's a good makeup. So Liverpool, technically, based on that, I mean, it's not too bad. Scott Woodall saying,
"What's happening with Thiago, though, man? What this injury that he has?
Yeah, where is he, dude?"
Listen, guys, if you look deeper into that tackle that Richarlison did to him in that game, and you actually see how his leg bends backwards.
It was exactly like Van Dijk.
All the talk was about Van Dijk. All the talk was about Van Dijk. And we completely brushed over Thiago's tackle, and everyone's everything's about Van Dijk. If you actually analyze the tackle, you're like, holy shit, that was just as bad. The poor oak's going to be out until the next year, which is ridiculous. I mean,
but that's quite crazy, because he had like niggling knee injuries from his career, from ever since he left Barcelona. He had a serious knee injury which affected his development, and he managed to break through that at Bayern. But with knees, that's always a risk, right? It's always a thing that could come and bite you in the back. So hopefully it isn't that. Hopefully
it's a bad one. Sorry, Sello?
No, I'm saying it's you're right. That challenge was actually very bad. And it deserved that red card that Richarlison got, 3-game ban, whatever. But it's just unfortunate that a player that a lot of people were looking forward to seeing in the Premier League hasn't gotten a chance to play as yet because of injury. But the matches he did play, he looked amazing. But yeah, hopefully speedy recovery. We don't like to see good players down, no matter what, man. So hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. Even like now with Raul Jimenez, hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. I know there will obviously be a gaping hole for Wolves, but yeah, hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. But it will be a challenge for Liverpool. But I think Liverpool at home, that's one thing you can rubber stamp that Liverpool won't lose at home to a Wolves. I'm saying, but that Liverpool, I think also they get up for the big games definitely easily. Like you don't even have to motivate them at all. I think the Brighton thing was just a lot of frustrations in terms of VAR. That ended up obviously not going in their favor, and that sometimes is unfortunate. In the time of VAR, you get decisions not going your way, and you should have gotten 2 or 3 goals, and you end up only having 1, and the other team gets a 1 because of a penalty that was 50-50.
Yeah,
and to say that, like, also, like, all the other French players that have been at Liverpool have been improving. It's not like they've been at the same level training against themselves week in, week out. They have been training against some of the better players week in, week out, and they do see the level that these players do operate at, which gives Liverpool some kind of comfort against teams like Wolves. It won't give them the same comfort against teams like Chelsea, Man United, but like it will assist. What?
Newcastle.
Okay, if you want to add Newcastle to the mix, but like the second string players should be at a level which they've been operating at week in, week out in terms of training and performance, and also vying to get a first place position, where if they were to face the Wolves, it would be the perfect opportunity to show their worth to the squad and their worth and their value to players missing, like they could then shine and use that opportunity to shine.
Definitely. And I think the pro and con there in that scenario is that, if players aren't available, we've got a lot more youngsters that are, I wouldn't say ready, but now all of a sudden they find themselves training with the first team. So for their progression and their development, that's a huge boost. So Mosa through your days playing as a youngster with the first team, that sort of kick up the backside it gives you, and knowing what the standards are, it's a huge boost. The other 2 things I want to mention is that Scott mentions Kalobali being linked with Liverpool. I mean, he has been linked with Liverpool in the past for a long while. I think his age is at his downfall, as well as the asking price Napoli asking for him. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're looking at a player called Kabak. He plays for Schalke, is a Turkish player. I think he's 21 or 22, and he's doing the business at the moment in the Bundesliga. That's a possible option, someone they may be considering. But they're also looking at an Ajax youngster, who's also 21. But either or, the players that they are looking at, and I don't think they're going to land anyone in January. I think they're going to look end of the season. But the players they are looking at are within the age range of 21 to 22 years old, so that's okay. But final point before I move over to the betting corner is that Gini van Helden still hasn't renewed his contract, which means there's a huge risk of losing the player on a free. And I know there's been talks with regards to Barcelona and everyone else sniffing around to snap the player up. And I know Koeman was his international manager when he's obviously at Netherlands, and now, Barcelona. I don't know why he would go to Barcelona, but he's definitely not getting what he's worth at Liverpool. And if we look at this injury crisis, 6 games in 17 days, the only player who's been fit and ready for all those games is a Gini van Helden, and he's been keeping our team ticking over. So if they don't give him the money, give him the money.
The guy, he is etched in your history the last 3 years. Those goals he scored against Barcelona, man. Those headers in the box.
He scores in the big game.
That little man in the box.
Do you know where they got him from? Do you know which team?
Newcastle.
Moving on.
Actually, before we go, 2 players that are doing well in the Premier League as centre mids, Sissoko and Wijnaldum, come from you guys. So you guys you given Tottenham and some 2 good players.
Well sorry, before we go to betting corner, that's quite interesting.
Hot players, eh?
If Spurs win the league this season and Sissoko is there, you'll have 2 players that got relegated and they've won the league. How's that? That's quite a stat for you. I've never heard of that, actually. 2 players that Wijnaldum's been relegated with a team in the Premier League and he's won the Premier League. Just wrap your head around that. That's quite...
Yeah, that's nuts. Shows you how football works.
That's
One day
excellent.
you're here, I think-
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
And Robertson, because Hull City, right?
Yeah,
Hull
that's
City.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stop trying to make everything about Newcastle, Nick. But let's
Oh,
talk about
Okay.
the betting
I
corner.
gotta make it about us somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So
'Cause you gotta
first
play,
game on
yeah.
the chart, we're gonna start with Nick. We're gonna move over to Wonga. We're gonna go down to Mosa, then Sello, then me, and then we're gonna start off with the first game: West Ham, Man United. Predictions, Nick.
I think it's a 1-1 draw written all over it. I think West Ham in good form. I don't think Man United are going to be a pushover, but I think Man United were exposed last week, but showed some of the quality that they do have. But the exposure that was shown worries me with a team of West Ham's caliber at the moment in their form. They might expose it. So I think it's a 1-1 draw.
Wonga.
Yeah. Like Nick says, you can't ignore West Ham's form, and also as well you can't, like Sello was saying, Man United's away form, but in the Premier League. Yeah, I definitely think West Ham will bring the game to them, and I also will go for 1-1 draw. I think they could end up cancelling each other out.
1-1 draw. Mosa.
Look, man, I think Man United have a challenge against this team. I do think that they do have options though up front. Cavani does look lethal. He does look exciting. Martial does have a point to prove that he still has the finisher's touch, which he's been missing over the past couple of days. So I do think a 2-1 Man United should be a fair result. Given that the character that I've seen in Bruno Fernandes has come into play, it's just how Man United sorts that defense out and that defensive mid position out. But I do see Man United being strong enough to beat this team.
Sello.
I think the guys have a point to prove after yesterday. They need to make sure that they're clinical in front of goal. So definitely a win for Man United. I'll give West Ham a goal. So 2-1 to Man United.
2-1. So you're agreeing with Scotty over there. Scotty too hotty. I think David Moyes. He never shows up for the big games. So typically speaking, he would roll over. And it also depends hugely on Cavani and whether or not he's going to bang in the goals for you guys. But I think it's time that David Moyes has grown some balls and he's going to take on his old guys. So I'm going to say 1-0 win to West Ham United. Next game, Chelsea Leeds, Newcastle. Let's hear you, Nick.
Is my name Newcastle now?
Yeah, I saw all the Newcastle stuff. I was like, let's go, Newcastle.
I think Chelsea are going to have too much. I'd like to see an upset here, but I just don't see it. I've spoken about it the whole season. I think Bielsa's tactics are going to work for him, and they are not going to work for him. And when they don't work for him, they're going to work very poorly for him, and he's going to be exposed. So I think this is going to be a comfortable win for Chelsea. I think it's going to be a 3-0 victory for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think same thing. I think they'll get outrun by them. I will say 4-0.
You gotta say the next prediction first, but continue. Yeah,
I said, like I said, they'll get run over them. I think 4-0 to Chelsea. Hopefully, Giroud can get 8 in 2.
You think Giroud will start then? That's dope. I think I would like him to start to show his value to the club. What he's done in the Champions League is valuable. He does look like he does have a few goals in him, and it widens out how Chelsea can approach the game. There's a lot more crosses and crossfield passes which do come to the centre attackers when Giroud's in the field, which the likes of Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi and or Werner himself can produce. So I think there is some value in having Giroud up front. And we've been very, very well in terms of having the character to either keep a clean sheet or fight back and claw into the game to either get a draw or win. So that's the bare minimum, a draw. But I think we will get like a 4-1 result from this game.
I think we sometimes forget that Leeds have 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games, but I'm not saying they'll have a clean sheet in this game. But yeah, they've definitely tried to correct some of their errors, and also Calvin Phillips being back since the Arsenal game has definitely changed them as a team. But I still feel that Chelsea will have too much for them. But I think it will be a bit more closer than that. I think a 2-1 to Chelsea.
Yeah, Sello, look, I got to say, like, I disagree with you with a lot of things, but our score predictions tend to be somewhere aligned, because I'm also going with a 2-1 victory to Chelsea. It's going to be close. I think Leeds will have a lot of... They'll make it difficult for Chelsea, but it will be overall 3 points to Chelsea. The big one for the weekend, guys. Spurs versus Arsenal. Nick, take it away in Newcastle.
I think Spurs for me. Spurs are going to have too much. Unfortunately, Wonga, there's a lot of problems there that you need to sort out, and this is a game you don't want to be playing following the sort of run that you're on. So I regardless of if Kane's playing, I think they'll have enough. I think it will be a 2-0 win to Spurs.
Wow. 1-0 even. Hectic. Yeah, it is a derby match. David Luiz, I saw him. He's also... He pulls his socks up there as well when he's playing his derbies, but yeah, I can't see. Huh? Yeah, they said, yeah, it just depends. Yeah, it depends. Arteta seems hopeful about it. Not hopeful, but he seems. He says it all it depends on is whether the scar is healed or not, and whether he's confident to hit the ball. He says it's very, very, very possible that he's gonna play. That's what he said. So yeah, if he plays, I'll be happy. But if we got Rob Holding in there, oh god, goodness me, yeah, it's going to be another thing. But I think, not that I think, but obviously Spurs, they're a stronger team, better form. I see them to take the game. Definitely 2-0.
Yeah.
Spurs.
Yeah.
You just said Spurs will win.
Yeah. And shout out to your honesty, Wonga. That's super true, because like
because even last week he said Wolves will win 2-1, so he was right.
And he got it right.
It's tough as a fan, but it's true as a football like enthusiast.
What's your prediction?
I think like Tottenham will be too good. I think there is interesting dynamics at Tottenham. You know, they've had the past 2 games where they've had to kind of defend deep and then rely on the counter-attack. In this game, they're going to have to kind of boss a lot more of the field and boss a lot more of that final third, which they have players that can do that. They have a Son, they have a Dembele, they have a Kane up there. You'll see Kane attacking a bit more than he has in the past few games, and that's lethal. I think that's very, very scary to defend against, especially for an Arsenal defense. So I think, yeah, Spurs should be able to take this one 3-0.
You know, Wonga, man. You know, also with a derby, man, you sometimes need players from the area, from like a boyhood fan type thing to play there. You know what I mean? You know, like
the tradition type of vibes.
Yeah, like a Marcus Rashford, like in the Man United team. You know, he's from Manchester and he's been supporting the club. So if you guys had that type of player, then could spur on the team. I could at least say that regardless of your past results, that this was a derby and you guys could maybe win it. You know, I want Arsenal to cause an upset. I want you to be happy next week and stuff like that. But I see a Spurs winning 2-1, unfortunately.
Yeah, like even Sello's. Sorry to jump in there, Claudio. But like even what Sello was saying, I think it's very important, especially going into this game. If we want to cause an upset, especially you know, Henry said he never ever lost a game. I never checked up the stats, but he said it himself. He's never ever lost a game at Spurs. No matter what match it was, he himself never lost a match against Spurs. And that's how he finished his career. So if you had something, even a player, doesn't have to be from the boy club, but if you had a player
who knows history, yeah,
who knows the history, felt the history, understands it as well, then that would also be a deciding factor for me. But because I see no one in there, even a Aubameyang, there's no one in there that Bellerin maybe, but
type of character.
you know,
I'm gonna stop you guys. I'm gonna stop you guys right there, and I'm gonna say
sorry.
it's a derby day. It's a derby day. Form goes out of the window. I'm gonna say, you know, this is what's gonna happen. Arsenal are gonna sit deep. They're gonna get their goal on the counter. Aubameyang is gonna score. It's gonna go 1-0. Spurs are going to have a lot of the ball. Arsenal are going to sit deep, and then Spurs are going to score right at the end. It's going to be a 1-1 draw. That's how I'm ending it. Moving on to the last game. The Wolves. Liverpool Wolves. Let's just hit predictions. Let's go in and out. Newcastle, Nick. Let's hear it.
Wonga, you got to go first. You always copy me. Wonga, tell me what the...
Wonga, go first.
Newcastle versus? Wolves.
Liverpool.
Yes. Wolves. I always give up, but now Claudio telling me that what's his name, Arnold is most likely to come back. Let's say he's a bit rusty, gets back there a bit rusty. I say 2-2 draw.
Okay.
2-1 win to Liverpool. I think you will concede because you have been conceding recently, but I think you will. I think it will be a comfortable 2-1 win, if that makes sense. It won't feel like you're under pressure, but I think a 2-1 win.
VAR.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. That comfortable 2-1 win will be there.
Scott, have a good one, man.
Liverpool might go up to 2-0. And then because their options are limited at the back and in the defensive quarters, they might slip up 1. And that would then make it 2-1 in that outcome as well. I agree with Nick 100%.
No, I think Liverpool's home form just speaks for itself in the Premier League. Even though Claudio was coming with his nonsense stats last week that he had to fact check again, because he was coming up with falsified.
Right, man. You were trying to poke holes where they weren't meant to be holes. But keep going. Quick. Let's hit
But 2-1 to Liverpool.
All right, 2-1 to Liverpool. I'm going to say, and I'm going to end this off with a lovely 3-1 to Liverpool. That's what I'm sticking with. I don't care what's happening. 3 goals are going to the back of the net.
But why?
And then, can I tell you quickly, the best part of this weekend is Newcastle don't lose a game. And we stay. That's the best part.
All right, lads, any final words before we head out?
Everybody watch Chelsea, please, guys. I think you guys are underestimating the power of that team.
When you guys
on all fronts, we're looking exciting. On all fronts, we're looking super exciting.
Claudio, enjoy your holiday, dude. Enjoy your holiday. That's my final.
I enjoy your holiday, man.
All right. And on that note, guys, if you don't know where Sangoma is, you can reach out to Mosa, because the only reason Chelsea are doing well with Lampard is because he's got the Sangoma on speed dial. All right, have a good evening.
That's Prematch Muti.